Hi, this is Quinn Wynn
and Jessie Chu, co-founders of Paper Talk. Welcome to Season 5.
We're here to share our paper flower journeys, engage with makers and artists, and support other female entrepreneurs.
Follow along as we give a voice to and nurture a community of paper florists from around the world.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Paper Talk. Today, we have Susan Beech with us of a Petal and Fold, and we are just huge fans of Susan's work. If you haven't seen her work, which you probably likely have, you'll know that she loves colorful pink and soft colors, and her work is super refined. Susan, we are so thrilled to have you on our podcast. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really thrilled to be on the show. Thank you.
I'm so happy to finally have met you, Susan. I feel like I've been stalking you for years. You're one of the first paper artists that I've ever noticed. And I was always astounded by your style, your elegance, and the beautiful way that you photograph all your paper flowers. It's absolutely stunning.
Oh, no, thank you. I'm really thrilled that you would even want me to be on the show. So thank you. Yeah.
Well, we had to when we heard that you were releasing a book this year, which we will get to in a bit.
Yeah.
But Susan, in case our listeners have not heard of you, which is unlikely, but would you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Yeah. So my name is Susan, or Susie, and I also work under the name of Petal and Folds. That's my studio name. I'm based in the UK. I'm on the south coast in Hove, which is near Brighton, and that's just directly underneath London on the south coast. I've been making flowers for quite some time now. So it's been about maybe 9 years altogether of making flowers, and then I've been working solely with them since around about 2016. And I've done lots of work really with brands and things. So I've worked with some really good brands like the Financial Times and Jo Malone. So I've been on this crazy paper flower ride for quite a while now. So
so amazing to
it's
see.
Surprising how quickly the years go. And so it's been quite a while now. Yeah.
Yeah. You are always inspiring. Every post that you post, every photo. It's so amazing to see how you recreate everything into paper form. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, thank you. I really appreciate it. I'm really huge fans of you as well and everything that you do. And working so well together as a team, it's amazing what you managed to achieve. So I'm a really big fan. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Tell us a little bit about your paper flower journey. So how did you start making paper flowers?
Yeah, so I originally did a degree in fine art printmaking, but at that time I wasn't doing a huge amount of printmaking. I was getting involved in a lot of photography and doing a lot of digital work. But after several years after graduating, I kind of started to feel a little bit restless with it, and I wanted to go back to making with my hands again. Mm-hmm. So I was on the lookout for something new to do, and tried sewing and textiles, and it was a complete nightmare. I hated it. I couldn't work a sewing machine to save my life. So I was trying all these different things and just trying to get creative, really, and try out new ideas and see what happened. And then I came across paper flowers. I came across Brittany Jepson of the house that Lars built, and she was doing incredible things with flowers at that time, and she was also doing a paper flower online class. So I decided to take that. I was really drawn to the flowers and just thought they were so beautiful and so different. I'd never seen anything like it before. Mm-hmm. So I took her class. I really enjoyed it. And then there wasn't a huge amount of instruction around that then as to how to make these flowers. So I found a vintage booklet off eBay, and that taught me more techniques. And then kind of went from there, really. I just started posting some flowers onto Instagram, and there were other paper flower makers there too. And we all started kind of developing our own techniques as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started to get noticed by Design Sponge, most notably at that time. And before we knew it, we were on a roller coaster ride of getting attention and being offered work. And it was a crazy time, and also really lucky that we were in the right place at the right time as well.
Mm-hmm.
And just on the very beginning of it all, getting some real kind of recognition,
mm-hmm.
and being noticed by people. So I was super lucky to be, like I say, in the right place at the right time. Yeah, so that's kind of how it all started. Yeah.
When did you start
Crazy.
teaching workshops? Because I feel like that's a big component, well, before COVID, that you were teaching quite a few workshops.
Yeah, I did teach before COVID. I wouldn't say I'm a natural at the beginning, of course. When I first started teaching, I didn't feel like I was a huge natural in teaching, standing up in front of people and teaching a class. But over the years, I have got, I have had quite a lot of experience in teaching workshops. So I have built up my confidence quite a lot. And, I can run a class now without getting nervous and things like that. So I have taught my own classes for quite a while, and also taught with brands as well and things like that, like in-store workshops and lots of things like that. So it's brought lots of opportunities. It's the kind of medium as well where it can work for a brand in store,
mm-hmm.
and in all sorts of situations really. So it's a really lovely medium to be involved in.
Mm-hmm.
So I've done quite a few workshops, but not so much post-COVID though, because now I've had a baby as well as COVID. Priorities are shifting a little bit, so
for sure.
Yeah, and I would usually travel to London to teach, but whether I'm going to continue to do that now that things are calming down with COVID, I'm not sure, but we'll see what happens with in-person classes. And I don't know how you guys feel about them now and getting them back to what they were before, but I don't know if it feels like things have shifted now. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, it is. It's a different life, right? The situation's so different now, and the perspective. We definitely still do not have any in-person things here in Canada. Not yet. I think our mask mandate might be lifted later this month, but I think a lot of the businesses are still very tentative about it. So yeah, I don't blame you for that, especially if you have a child now and it's and a baby. For me, I don't have a baby. I have young children, but that also means I'm much more riskier, to be honest. I'm the one who might spread the illness to other people because of my kids, bringing it home from school and daycare. So yeah, lots of things to think about when you are teaching in a small space intimately with people from everywhere. Definitely is something that is better to be cautious than not.
Yeah, even though the restrictions are mostly lifted now in the UK, it still feels like things aren't completely back to normal. And you can see a lot of the other makers as well that are in different fields aren't doing huge amounts of classes either. So I don't know, maybe it will build up again over time and people will start going back to them. But at the moment, it's still not anywhere near what it used to be before COVID.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't really feel like travelling to London now so much. So
it's hard to leave a baby.
But then there's the financial side of it as well. Like I might need to do. I might need to continue to do it. So we'll see.
Yeah. Can I ask you, going back to what you were talking about during the period of Design Sponge and the exposure, and I know that was a couple of years ago, was just curious, was at that point, did you know that you made the right choice of pursuing this? Or at what point did you know that, paper flowers is for me, not sewing?
I think it felt exciting. It felt like there was so many huge possibilities in it. I think that's the thing. It felt exciting and it felt different. And I think it's the excitement thing. Like I could see potential, and I could see opportunities, and it was exciting to make as a creator. And over time, of course, lots of people have continued to push it as a medium into completely new territory as a craft. We all have, haven't we, over time? But at that time, with the design sponge at the beginning, it felt we were at the very beginning of it, really, and it felt like there was this huge, potential in the craft as well, and also how beautiful it is to make the flowers, to do what we do, to make these flowers in this way. It really is beautiful and mindful, and brings a lot to a lot of people in lots of different ways. So yeah, it was exciting. It's exciting, and it was back then as well. Just to be there at the beginning and to see how far it's gone since then. It's amazing, really, and what's happened to it over time. Yeah,
so exciting to see. Like, we can see paper flowers on TV shows now in competition, and it's just really amazing to see in a short span of time, 5 years, that when we all started, it was barely there, and now it's like you see it in brands, you see it in stores. Like you mentioned, Joe Malone has reached out to multiple paper artists around the world to do workshops, to do paper flowers installations inside the department stores. It's so amazing. The possibility of paper flower is so exciting. It just makes me like giddy with the possibility of what we could actually take and do with it beyond what we have right now. I mean, the possibility of paper is unbelievable. It's been around for thousands of years. And the way that the journey of paper has moved, and the artist that has moved that needle to be so much more than what it is so exciting. And I love that, Jesse, you have a book. Susan, your book is coming out. Can you tell us how that all started, and how people say that writing a book is almost as hard as giving birth to a baby? Now that you have both, which one would you say was harder?
Yeah, I think that definitely the book, actually. Yeah, I don't know how you feel about it, Jessie, but I find it quite hard.
It was a lot. It was painful for 3 months versus giving birth. It was only painful for a couple of hours.
Yeah, it's, even though a lot of the flowers in the book I've made before, I still took it upon myself to make them better, to improve them. So it still didn't really save me a huge amount of time. Just agonizing over it, really, and having the little one as well, like hardly any time for me at all. Like every evening would be spent on the book, and I'd have like one night off a week. So every moment going into it, and the pressure,
for sure,
the pressure as well of meeting the deadlines and getting it right. It's quite a lot, but super lucky to have been able to be given the opportunity to do it, and counting my blessings, really.
For sure,
the work, yeah. Yeah, it was quite some work.
Yeah, how did you find the process of writing obviously creating the flowers, or upgrading the flowers, or improving the flowers, and then writing the tutorial, and then taking doing the photo shoot? What did you think of that process?
Yeah, it is, it does take a long time. Even though, like I say, I had done some of the flowers before, it still felt like I was trying to make them better, trying to make them the best that they could be. And also trying to put things in the book that, like flowers that hadn't been put in other books, to try and let the book stand on its own as well. So a really difficult balance. Yeah, so I would say
It's okay.
yeah. Sorry, I've lost my trail of thought.
It's okay. Why don't I ask you something a little bit easier? So what was your favorite part about the book, about the process? Or what is your favorite part of the book?
Or what was your most favorite flower to actually create a tutorial or that you're most proud of?
There's a really beautiful sweet pea in there, called Sweet Pea King Tut, which is a really lovely blue colour. I really love that, how wild it looks in the book and how natural it looks. I'm really proud of that. And so the hollyhock as well, really pretty. And there's a really lovely lily regale in there as well that I don't think has been in another book, but I really love that flower in real life as well. It's really beautiful lily with like really lovely pink stripes on the outside, real strong yellow in the centre. It's really pretty flower. So yeah, I'm super proud of that one as well. Yeah, what else would there be in there as well? The cyclamen, love the cyclamen.
Yes.
So pretty.
Always a favourite.
Yes.
Every winter. Yeah, so there's some real, and the fuchsia as well, that's another firm favourite. So some of the ones that I've made lots before that still really resonate with me are in there as well. So yeah, there's a really good mix, and then there's some new ones as well. So hopefully there's something for everybody in there.
Have you always been a lover of flowers? Like, how has that evolved in your personal life to be translated into your paper life?
Well, I think a lot of it goes back to, I grew up on a farm in the Midlands area of England. Those years really had a huge effect on me, I think. Like a lot of people, your childhood can have a huge effect, and that really is where everything comes from, I think, with the flowers, and also with things that I've made before flowers as well, like in photography that I used to do. It all springs really from those childhood years, growing up on a farm, being super close to the natural world and the colours and the smells and the warmth in the summer and the foxgloves in the hedgerows and all that kind of thing. It's a very romantic kind of vision, and I think a lot of my work does stem back to that. Pretty much everything that I've done, actually, even at university, it went back to that. So I think that really did have a huge effect on me, and a lot of the romanticism and the flowers that I make now come from that childhood. Come from that childhood, really, I think. Yeah, it definitely comes from that huge connection with the natural world from an early age, really.
Do you use fresh flowers as prototypes, or to refer to them?
I try to, but very often they aren't there when I need them.
Yeah.
They're so seasonal.
So I use books an awful lot, botanical books, especially ones that dissect the flower. You'll know is really super useful. Yeah. So I do rely on photographs and books heavily, really, especially when like brands want peonies now. I can't get a peony.
No, not quite there yet.
Do you feel the same with your work as well, that you'll use reference more sometimes? Yeah.
I would say Google search. I always do, if I'm Googling an illustration, I always do botanical illustration, botanical parts with the flower name, of course. And then one thing I've always tried to find is the backside of the flower, especially all the photos are all about the flower, which is wonderful. But because we have to create the sepals, the little bits that, from the transition of the flower head to the stem, there's so much details in that. And I think that's the really special part. If at the beginning of a paper flower career, you always do, the sepals, the 5 pieces, and you're done. But then if you really look at it, it's not quite like that. It's more about these itty bitty parts, these little tears, these little ripples. It's so exciting to be able to add that finishing touch, not only the foliage and the petals and the carpels, and it's just so much more. And I think to challenge yourself as a paper artist, adding those extra details really brings you up to another level another level of appreciation of the flower and the art.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I have a garden.
I'm always trying.
But
sorry,
it's Zoom. There's a lag. But go ahead, Susan. Go ahead. We're talking about you, not me.
Yeah, I'm always trying to Google as well, like how big a flower is, and sometimes it's not on Google, and it's like I need to find out how big this flower head is. Should be. I'm frantically Googling,
size.
something flower size to try and find out how big it is.
Yes.
So true. So lots of detective work involved in trying to get the right references.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
I know. I think one of the biggest things that I always found with Google search is the people that take the photos. You never know the color resolution that they edit the flower. Is it this really bright pink or is it more like a regular pink? And you're trying to like match that color. It's so interesting. It's like, I don't know if this picture is true to the flower itself.
Yeah, that is another thing as well, the colors. I understand what you mean. You Google it and there's like all different shades of the pink.
Yeah.
And it's like, which
exactly.
One is
like, is there an ombre to this? Where's this ombre coming from?
It is like that.
Yes. The Awesome Blossom workshops are wrapping up and we're celebrating with an in-person party.
We're hosting a workshop from May 13th to 15th at Hope Flower Farm and Winery in Virginia. We'll teach you how to make 2 new flowers and how to arrange your paper bloom. Plus, internationally acclaimed fresh florist educator and designer Holly Chappell will teach you her Hollyish style of arranging using freshly cut flowers from her farm, and you will arrange alongside her.
Tickets are only limited to 20 students and they're available to purchase starting March 25th. But if you're one of our Awesome Blossom students and you have the golden ticket, you can grab a spot right now and save $500.
Come and celebrate with us face to face. Head over to our website now and reserve your spot. We can't wait to meet you.
You know what we need to do? We need to challenge our paper flower community to put a book out about parts. Like someone needs to make an updated version of all these flower parts, of all things taken apart, the backside, not just, deconstruction of it, but also different views of it as it, faces the sun, as it's raining. Like there's so many pieces of it that would be so exciting for a paper artist ourselves. We need this book.
I wish they would do that kind of book. Yeah, any publishers listening, feel free to get involved in that.
I think it goes more than just paper artists. I think gardeners would be so appreciative of this book too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Robbie Honey has a really good book. And he's dissected the parts.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
But it could be a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's just enough to push your interest, but it's like, I just need to see another side of this, another view of this.
Three-dimensional.
Yeah,
that would be the book of dreams.
Right?
Let's hope it comes along one day.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Susan, have you always used crepe paper?
Yes, it's always been crepe.
How did you can I ask you how you got your hands on crepe paper? Because you started like 9 years ago, and it's definitely, crepe paper wasn't as available at that time, for sure, compared to now.
Yeah, it was quite difficult back then. So I can remember when I did Brittany Jackson's course, I managed to get some doublet paper in the UK for that. But I don't think I could get the colours that she had, so I had to use different colours, which is quite common today as well, isn't it? Sometimes people swap colours all the time. And I also could get very thin paper that was like 40 grams. I could get that quite easily, but I couldn't get anything between doublet and really thin.
Y'all know that.
But Brittany did teach in her class to glue 2 together to make a thicker paper. So I did do that back in those early days. So yeah, I did work a lot with thin paper in the early days. And I think that's actually where the peony came from that I first made, was that I still make that now with fine crepe. So I think that kind of original time of working with the fine crepe, the ranunculus I also made with fine crepe back then. So it did kind of carry through a little bit at first, the thin crepe, and then I discovered the thicker paper. And I do remember emailing Cartotecnica Rossi about getting some of their paper, only for them to reply and say, you can actually order in the UK now. So then I could start to get the Italian paper. So that was a huge, like, brilliant moment to be able to get that. But then I'd get the 180, and after working with only the fine crepe at 40 grams, I got this 180 paper and looked at it and thought, what am I going to do with this? It's so thick, it's so crinkled. I just couldn't fathom the 180 at first, after that background of just the light, the really lightweight paper. So but once I've managed to learn what to do with the 180, that became my favourite paper, actually. Yeah, so that was the background to the paper, to the crepe paper. Yeah, did you have a lot around when you started?
Not really.
No.
In the United States, Paper Mart was one of the bigger ones. So you can order the Chinese crepe paper. And we had Rose Mill that came along, who acquired another company that was able to bring in the German crepe paper. And then Cart Finney, which is Mike Benson, he came along and brought the Italian crepe paper in. So it was actually really wonderful timing for me when I started, because all these companies were recognizing, I mean, Leah Griffin started doing a lot more tutorials with them. And so I think that brought the attention of all these companies to say, oh, we can import this in. There's a need for it. And as we started doing more, Margie Keats of the Lovely App, she started at the same time that I did, literally like a week later or before. We were just like very close together. And then Eileen Lim in Singapore also started the same year. Like, we have so many graduates of like 2016 that we all started from. So it's been quite very fun to kind of like all grow up as a paper florist around that time. And Jessie too came up a year later. So that's been really wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange how many more papers have come out. And
yes.
Much more access to it now. Much easier.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Up in Canada, we Plier, who I guess the paper place, supplies most of my paper. And for a long, long time, she only carried German. So the fine crepe paper and the doublet. And so I only worked with that. And I was like, what is this Italian 180? And it wasn't until I think a couple of years in that she started carrying it, because she bought it from Cart Finney. So actually, all of the paper is brought in from the US, because nobody in Canada has a direct access to Cartotecnica Rossi or Warola.
Yeah.
Except for one recent one. So interesting seeing how the availability of the paper has grown as our community has grown as well. And there's a recognition that there's interest in it. There's a market for it.
Yeah.
So, but I still I can't get my hands on the German heavy crepe paper. I know Rose Mill carries it, but I can't get my hands on that because it costs an arm and a leg to ship it up here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the paper's not expensive, but the shipping of the paper is, it's like $50 or something like that, ridiculous, to ship up to Canada. So we still are restricted in terms of what we can get our hands on, just based on logistics and the fact that our market in Canada is a lot smaller than the US.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of...
Can you order from Carte Finney?
Yes.
Can you order from there? Yeah.
I can.
Because I told someone yesterday from Canada about Carte Finney, but I hope I didn't tell her the wrong thing.
Yes, no, we can order from Mike directly. So that's been wonderful. Same with Rose Mill. We can order from them directly. It's just Rose Mill. We can order from the States. No problem. It's the shipping that is will cost 5 times more than your paper. So yeah. And I know, I mean, we have, we know paper flower artists from the UK or even from Europe who's trying to order paper, and they have difficulties getting their hands on paper that, like Germany, that's made in Germany. They can't get paper that's made from Germany. And it's so weird for how the paper's distributed, the availability.
Yeah, I think it's not getting easy in the UK either with Brexit as well. I haven't bought from Italy since Brexit. I'll probably just buy from the UK suppliers now.
Mm-hmm.
But if something goes out of stock, you have to wait a month or two for it to come back in because of making orders and getting it in from Europe. So
yeah,
it's still not 100% great. And also the 60 gram paper is really difficult to get hold of in the UK now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's still not perfect for all of us, is it? But it's a lot better than it was.
Affect much of the imports too?
Sorry?
Did you say? The Ukraine war that's happening, has that affected the imports of getting supplies in?
It possibly will, yeah. I think they're expecting fuel prices to go up, and I'm expecting things like delivery and delivery charges and things to go up as well, probably.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very likely.
Yep.
So yeah, I think like everything, prices are going to go up for a lot of things now.
I know. Inflation gas is so expensive now in the United States.
Yeah,
it's
here
ridiculous.
as well. Yeah.
It was more than $100 per barrel, which is like unheard of.
Mm-hmm.
It's
getting really bad now.
Yeah.
So,
Susan, have you always wanted to write a book?
Yes, it's always been a dream. I'd got in mind what I wanted to do really, and I didn't have an agent or anything like that, but I did pitch at times the idea, but the offers that I got weren't always tending to be not quite what I wanted to do for some reason, or the money wasn't as much as what I needed it to be. So I kind of thought that I was running out of time with it completely, and I have at times given up on it as well. I've just thought I just need to concentrate on other things, and maybe it's not going to happen now. That's kind of what I thought. Even maybe I was wrong to turn down some of the offers that I'd had before, and then I got an offer again, and I thought maybe this is my last chance. Maybe I need to do it and take it. But then luckily Pavilion contacted me just in time. I was just about to sign the contract, and they contacted me and swooped in, and I was really happy to publish with them. So it's kind of been a bit of a roller coaster ride having a book deal.
Yeah.
Because then Pavilion were about to sign on the dotted line, and COVID struck. And they said that they were going to stop signing contracts at the moment because everyone was falling into an abyss with COVID, and no one knew what was going to happen. So they stopped contract at that point, and I just thought, this is just typical. You couldn't make this up, like to be at that moment, to be at the moment where the contract is literally on the CEO's desk or whatever, and COVID hits and stops it. And of course there was lots going on then. I was going to have my baby within a couple of months as well, and world was upside down at that point. So but they did say we'll review it in 3 months' time, and it did get reviewed again, and then they did go ahead with it because luckily craft books did do really well over lockdown, didn't they? And
so well.
And maybe a lot of publishers did well as well, because books were quite popular over lockdown in general. So it did get the go ahead luckily a few months later, which was amazing to just know that it was finally going to happen.
Yes.
What a journey.
Yes.
Yeah, you couldn't make it up really, but yeah, I'm really super happy to have done it now, and and to see it go out. Although I think there might be a little bit of a delay in it being out in the US, because I think it's not going to be until the end of the year or even the beginning of next year before it might be out in the US.
No.
So there's a little bit of a little delay with that, but it will be out in the UK on the 7th of April. So,
oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
I know.
Yay.
It's so soon. Oh my gosh.
It is, yeah. It's really quite scary. It's really exciting and really quite scary at the same time.
Yeah.
But I just hope that people like it and enjoy it and get a lot from it. I really do hope that. So fingers crossed.
I think they will.
Sure
for April the 7th.
Yay! It's beautiful. We got a sneak peek of your book and the insides, and it's just, I mean, your flowers are beautiful. The way you've explained how you do things is wonderful. But your photography, did you take the images yourself, or did you have a photographer work with you?
No, I was lucky that Pavilion offered a photographer and a stylist. So I was lucky to not have to do all of that myself. And worked with a really lovely team, with a photographer, a stylist and a designer as well. The book was on the shoots as well. So there's quite a team of us working on it, and I was really, really lucky to work with those people and learn a lot from it. So I really hope that people like how it looks as well. It was difficult as well to give up the flowers to other people to photograph as well. It was something that did make me nervous.
Yeah. But you were there you were there, right?
Yeah, so I was there. Yeah, I was there for all the shoots.
Yeah.
And to see the decisions being made as well. Yeah. So there was a little bit, of nervousness there as well at giving my work over to other people. But I was really lucky to work with a great team. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how it looks.
I'm so happy to hear that, because I know I totally understand. As an artist, and you're used to shooting your own flowers a certain way, and presenting them and styling them in a certain way. You have a very distinct aesthetic as well in photography. And so having someone else capture your flowers, I understand you might be worried about, whether or not they're able to capture it in the way that you would capture it, or see it in a way that you would see it, and be able to kind of show that off. I think they did a good job.
It's a brand new experience to be in that position, really.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy, and it was a great opportunity.
So with the book coming out in April, how do you plan to celebrate and pamper yourself on this great accomplishment?
Oh, I think there may have to be a glass of Prosecco or champagne on that day.
Yes, a wonderful way to celebrate.
It will be quite a day. But how did you feel, Jessie, when yours came out?
It was surreal, I think, because it felt like only I knew about it. I mean, obviously the online world knew, but your neighbors don't know, and your child's teacher doesn't know.
Life still goes on the same.
Yeah, exactly. So you celebrate a little bit, but then you kind of move on from there. And I'm terrible though. I'm a terrible example. I personally am I shy away from celebrations, and I shy away from it's a whole how I was raised thing where celebrating, you celebrate, but you don't celebrate too much. And so I often
I understand.
I don't know if it's a female thing too, where it's you celebrate but you can't do it too much. So we celebrated that day, and my husband is much better promoter than I am. I need to work on that. But no, that's about it.
I think it will feel like a bit of a relief as well.
Yes.
Yeah, when it comes, I think it will feel a bit of a relief that it's out there now and it's done, and you can move on to the next thing, and it must feel like a really good, big relief as well to see it out there.
But
I'm like that as well. I don't think I'll celebrate anything huge. It'll just be maybe a drink and clink clink and that kind of thing. But
my only recommendation would be really just to, and I wish I lived in the moment more, but just to like take that time to live in that moment and remember what it feels like to be a published author, because it passes so quickly. And then later on, when you go back, you can remember it, even if you're not celebrating like crazy, at least you've taken the time to take in that moment, because it's in our busy lives, and you have a baby or a child, and it's hard to focus on the now and today. And if there are any moments, this one, I think you should. Well worth it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember having the first copy in my hands, and it came in an envelope, and I didn't know what it was, and then I suddenly realised, and I was like, "Oh,
that's so exciting!" What a wonderful moment that must have been.
Yeah, it
nervous,
was.
Probably nervous too.
Yeah, I think that will probably be bigger actually than the release date, because it's actually there in your hands and you're going to open it and look at it. And I think that's one of those.
It's real, right?
The huge moments with the book, I think, is getting that first copy in your hand. And everything, all the feels.
I love it.
All the feels, yes. So true. Oh my gosh,
so wonderful. Thank you so much, Susan, for being on our podcast. It's been a true pleasure chatting with you. And I feel a little bit starstruck because I've been following you such a long time.
Oh, no. I'm just an ordinary girl.
A very talented, ordinary girl.
No, thank you for having me on the show. You're really generous of you. Thank you.
So, you're
I really
so welcome.
it.
We jumped at the opportunity to talk to you and about your book. And I have to say, it's a long time coming for your book. For sure.
It has been a long time coming.
Yeah. Well, we're super excited for it to be released to the world. And I know everybody's going to be really excited to get their hands on it. So, we will do, honestly, we will do anything, really, to help you get the book out in the world and share it.
Thank you.
Make sure everybody loves it as much as, we've seen it. So the publisher was kind enough to actually send us a preview of it. It was just stunning.
Oh, lovely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you. Well,
you're so welcome.
Joining you now, Jessie, and the author star.
Yay. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm honored.
Following in your footsteps.
Oh my gosh. It's more like I'm following in yours. It's just the book came a little bit ahead. But yours, you found the right publisher. You told the story that you wanted to. And I think that's more important than, than anything. It has to be the right fit.
Yeah, hopefully. I just want everyone to enjoy it. Like I say, that's the most important thing now.
For sure.
We will.
Yeah.
We would love to thank you, our listener, and especially our patrons for supporting our podcast, Paper Talk, and for making Season 5 possible.